Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Shamshir Sound video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a tool that I use quite often, and on my last track that I rendered, I used it on the master chain. I also used it on the kick and the bass, I believe. So this is the Drawmer S73, a fantastic plugin by the guys over at Softube. It's based on hardware, so it's an analog synthesizer. It's based on the Drawmer 1973. It is a multi-band compressor geared for always turbocharging your mix and making it sound better each and every time. It's also used heavily on kicks, bass, synth, vocals, so you don't have to use this on the master only, even though it says master processor. You can use this on individual tracks, and it can address a variety of issues to enhance your mix, both in substantial ways, but also in very transparent, almost indistinguishable ways. But 99% of the time, you're gonna love using this plugin and you're gonna use it quite often, trust me. So this plugin, their philosophy with it is that, with great power comes great responsibility. A multi-band compressor can have a detriment effect of actually suffocating too much in your mix, and the intended effect of a multi-band compressor is to glue everything together, right? We want things to be part of one ecosystem instead of like a sample there and a sample there. We want it to be glued together, hence why people use things like an SSL compressor or a variety of tools to try and make things congruent and streamline them together to give it a better listening experience. Now with the Drawmer S73, Softube, I read through their manual so I can just better explain to you guys their philosophy. When they were working on dozens of mixes, they realized that a mastering engineer is addressing a lot of the same common issues over and over. And so they wanted to design this plugin so that you can quickly put it on, you can quickly adjust some knobs, and you're getting the same or similar results as what that mastering engineer is doing. Being that it's modeled off of analog hardware, you're getting a very analog, amazing sounding sound. I mean, all I could say is that you'd have to use it for yourself personally, so you're not dealing with YouTube compression and all that. When you use it personally, you're gonna really appreciate this plugin. So first, let's just talk about the UI, and it's very simple. So we have the styles. So let's first talk about the styles, because the workflow starts where you first really start with the style. So we have Clarity 1. The Clarity 1 is a way of enhancing some of the highs and just overall giving a little bit more quote-unquote clarity. Clarity 2 is a similar model, but Clarity 2 tries to mitigate some of the harshness of the highs in case your track is maybe too bright and you want some mid boost, but the highs are a little too crazy. You can try Clarity 2. Neutral is exactly what it sounds. It's the most neutral preset, which is great for an already good sounding mix. And if for this mix, I was happy with the mix, so neutral was what I chose when I balanced the MP3. I chose neutral because it's the most transparent, and I'm just paraphrasing from Softube. For neutral, essentially, if a mix is already sounding good, like I said, it's going to just make it sound a little bit better by adding a little bit of sheen, a little bit of air, but almost indistinguishable. So you're not going to get like a mangled result. Your good mix is going to sound that much better, just a little bit turbocharged, just slightly. We have gentle compression, which this is acting like a glue compressor or an SSL style compressor. More air, well, exactly that's what it's going to do. It's going to add just strictly more air and brighten the mix. We have derumble. The derumble is a good choice if maybe your mix or something that you have it on is too boomy and muddy. Maybe there's too much going on in the 500 hertz range, give or take. You can try using the derumble to clean some of that up. The punch is kind of the opposite. The punch is going to be doing enhancements to things like kick and bass and making those punch more in the mix. You could use it on the master, but I would probably discourage it. I usually suggest using the clean presets on the master, and honestly, the neutral is my most favorite. It's just so good because I get best of both worlds. I can retain my already good sounding mix, but just making it sound a little bit better. And we have the wide mix, so that's going to add a lot of stereo width, ambience, and vocal enhance. So the ones below are better suited, I think, towards individual tracks. Like I said, I love the neutral. But let's go ahead and just show you guys how this works, and I'll come back to more of these in the UI. We'll explain air and amount and wet mix and whatnot. So let's play a little bit of this drop, and we'll get an idea what's going on. What I'm going to do for you guys now is I'm going to turn off Drawmer, turn it on, and indicate it in the video too. So you can see that Drawmer is doing super subtle. It's just like the little, little sprinkles on top. So from that, it's giving a little bit of, tiny bit of brightness, just a little bit of presence to the mix. It's just making it sound just a little bit kind of supercharged, but not too drastic. But we'll show you guys if we go too drastic, what that's going to be like. Because Softube did say with some of the other ones like Clarity 1, Clarity 2, be careful, right? With great power comes great responsibility. You don't want to be going crazy. Now that we see that neutral Drawmer has a nice effect on the master, let's see what happens when we turn on something like the air knob. Let's go to something a little less crazy. Let's just come here. So you can see there, the air knob does exactly that. When you turn air knob toggled on, it's going to add tons of air to your mix. I don't recommend that unless your mix was just super, super dark. My mix is pretty flat, maybe a little bit brighter, and I found that I didn't need that. Neutral is already adding a little bit of sheen, so I didn't need to turn on the air knob there. Where I could recommend the air knob, maybe if you have a vocal that is like super dark, maybe you have a synth that you're doing experimenting on, because like I said, possibilities are endless. You want to slap this on an instance of Massive and you're doing some weird synth mayhem, go ahead, mess around with it. But less is more, I found, with this plugin, but the results are always great sounding. So neutral with the air off. Of course, the amount, when you turn it all the way down, it hits something that says safe at the bottom. Now, this doesn't mean that it's not doing anything. It just means it's the most permissive. It's the most subtle. So it doesn't mean that this is not doing anything at all. We'll show you what adjusts that. So that would be adjusted by this dry wet mix. So the nice thing about S73 is that if you're like, do I want to use this? I want the benefits of it, but I like my transparency. Well, why not leave the knob right in the middle? And what that's going to allow you to do is you can do parallel compression. There we go. So you can do parallel compression where with something like this, you can keep 50% of the dry, 50% of the wet. And you could do that. And I was tempted to do that with this mix, but the neutral at 100% wetness with air off and amount at safe/off was still super transparent, and I was happy with it. So I left it the way it was, but I could see this in case maybe you were doing maybe clarity or you're doing something like that, and we'll see how that sounds like on this mix. Finally, we have this output knob, which the output knob is useful because in this case, if you're going into some future plugins, which I am here, I'm going into a clipper. You can see there 1.3. So I'm going into a clipper there, and I'm finally going to sausage fattener 0, 0, 0. Just good in case you want to adjust that final output. I think this mix is being driven around minus 6.9 RMS at drop and around minus 6.6 peak at like the second drop. And so let's come back here. Now that we talked about that, there is a setup section, nothing really important. I would just leave all the defaults on, but you can turn off the OpenGL graphics, the GPU processing, maybe just in case if you're getting some glitches with your graphics card, which it does indicate do require a restart of your DAW. And then there's some presets, and you can also access the manual, which is like a huge manual, as you can just search through and find their documentation, which is very useful. So let's come here just to wrap up and show you guys what would happen if I switch between, say, neutral to clarity, and we'll do that just on the fly. You see gentle compression, not recommended for my case here. It's just going to suffocate the mix. I could make adjustments. I don't need that kind of compression. Clarity 2 was going a little crazy, so Clarity 1 and neutral did sound good. It's always going to be situational based on what you're processing in here. But neutral will always be like perfect to go with if you want something that's never going to destroy your mix, but always sound good. 100% neutral. So let's see what it sounds like when we put D-Rumble and the other ones on. So you can see punch is just thrusting it too much, but you could also use this in cereal. So what do I mean? No, I'm not talking about juicy cereal. Oh, I've just thought about Morning Crisp, my favorite cereal. Cereal meaning that you can have one instance of Drawmer S73 doing like, let's say like, oh, like a tiny bit, like 0.2% of punch, and then another Drawmer S73 below it, and then another Drawmer S73. I don't recommend it, but Softube did say you can do that. So you could do something where like you mix in a little bit of punch, boominess to the bass, adding a little bit bass enhancement, and then another Drawmer S73 below, maybe doing the neutral preset that I had at the beginning of this video. So let's go through these, the wide mix. So of course you wouldn't want to use things like this and this and this. Like definitely not, I wouldn't use the last three on the master. If I did, for whatever technical reason, it would probably have to be like super subtle. Like I'm talking like, oh, 0.1, 0.2. Just be very careful. My most favorite, definitely, at the end of the day, is the neutral preset. But yeah, I wanted to share you guys this information and my opinions, my 2 cents on this plugin. It is fabulous and I love it. And let me know if you guys have ever used this plugin. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Tomorrow's going to be a Feedback Friday video. So if you guys haven't sent me a submission on SoundCloud, please do. I'm going to be making a video tomorrow. And if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take it easy. Take care.